So there is a task chasing you right now. Come on, you know exactly which one it is. It's that heavy, looming mountain casting a massive shadow over your entire day. And have you ever noticed that every single time it crosses your mind, your brain just sprints off looking for any excuse to do literally anything else? Well, many people, maybe even you, have decided that the real problem here is just a character flaw. You tell yourself that you're just lazy or weak or undisciplined. But what if I told you that's completely wrong? Listen, procrastination was never about willpower. The absolute truth is, it's an entire neurobiological system in your brain running completely out of calibration. So let's dive right in and look at exactly how this mechanism works, and much more importantly, how you can finally break it for good. First off, we need to kill the absolute biggest lie you tell yourself. I procrastinate because I'm lazy. Guys, procrastination isn't laziness, it is fear. It's just fear wearing a very, very clever disguise. Imagine walking down an empty, misty road, and you're constantly looking over your shoulder at something hiding in the shadows. You aren't avoiding the work because you lack drive or because you don't care. You're avoiding it because you're afraid. And honestly, it is so much easier for your ego to just say, I'll do it later, than to actually admit, I am terrified of doing this. To really understand why this happens, we have to look inside. Deep, deep in your brain sits a region called the amygdala. Think of it like this glowing, hyper-vigilant ember. It's this incredibly primitive part of the brain shaped by literally millions of years of evolution. And it really has one primary job: to detect threats and keep you alive. But here's the major problem. This ancient part of your brain is fundamentally flawed in the modern world. Why? Because it literally cannot tell the difference between a hungry predator stalking you in the wild and an overdue deadline at work. I'm serious. To the amygdala, both register as the exact same thing. It just screams, danger, run. Now, what's really fascinating is what happens a millisecond after that alarm goes off. When the amygdala screams danger, your prefrontal cortex, the supposedly rational, logical part of your brain, it just obeys. It instantly manufactures these elaborate, super logical sounding excuses. You catch yourself saying things like, oh, I don't really have time right now, or I need to research this a bit more first, or I'll just do it when I feel more inspired. Except these excuses were never rational to begin with. They're just post-decision rationalizations built after your brain had already decided to run away. When you avoid starting something, it is not because you don't want the outcome. It's because some primitive part of your brain is whispering, hey, what if you fail? It's way better not to try at all. Section 2, the dopamine hijack, the battle for your focus. That brings us to this massive internal conflict going on inside you. We need to talk about dopamine, but in a completely new structural way. Right now, there is a literal chemical battle happening inside you between two different types of dopamine. First, we have phasic dopamine. This stuff is explosive, it's impulsive, and it's super distracting. It's like a chaotic lightning strike that makes you, click on some random video when you're supposed to be working. Contrast that with tonic dopamine. Now, this is the steady, sustained focus stream that actually keeps you locked onto one task from start to finish. Think of tonic dopamine as a garden hose, delivering this constant, reliable stream of motivation. The core problem for chronic procrastinators? Phasic dopamine completely hijacks the tonic. It's like someone keeps shutting off your steady hose just to spray you with something shinier and way more immediate. But here is the wildly empowering part. You can actually control which of these two circuits stays switched on. Tool number 1, pull the fear out of the abstract fog. Stop right now, just for a second, and think about the exact task you're avoiding. What is the actual fear underneath it? Is it the fear of not being good enough, the fear of starting and never finishing, or maybe the fear of someone else's judgment? Name that fear and physically write it down on a piece of paper. By physically handwriting it, you activate a completely different part of your brain. You take this massive abstract terror just floating around in your head and you turn it into a concrete enemy that you can actually look at and manage. Next, I want to challenge literally everything you've ever been taught about motivation. Think about this. What if you are fearing the wrong thing entirely? See, most people are absolutely terrified of taking action because it might lead to failure. But to break this cycle, you actually need to learn to fear inaction way, way more than you fear taking action. Let's do a really quick visualization together. Close your eyes for just a second. Picture a draining hourglass. 6 months from now, the sand has slipped away, and you still haven't done anything about that task you're avoiding today. You chose comfort today, and now, half a year later, you feel the exact same guilt, the exact same stagnation. Just let that sit for a second. How incredibly heavy does that feel? Now, let's push that visualization even further. 3 years from now. The hourglass is totally empty, it's cracked, and it's sitting in heavy shadows. It's the exact same story repeating itself all over again. Your brain needs to deeply understand a profound emotional truth that it conveniently keeps ignoring. The biggest risk in life was never trying and failing? No way. It's never trying at all and spending forever wondering what if. The very moment you become more afraid of this irreversible inaction than you are of the action itself, procrastinating actually becomes significantly more painful than just doing the work.
Section 3. Reclaiming your day. 4 rules to restructure your mind.
So how do we physically make this shift from mindset to mastery? To stop the dopamine hijack and force your brain into deep focus, you need methodical discipline. Here are 4 concrete rules to forge those unbreakable habits. Rule 1. One hard task at a time. Never, ever use a massive list of 10 things, because your brain literally cannot release that steady tonic dopamine toward multiple goals all at once. Rule 2. Set an artificial, tight deadline. Make it even shorter than you think you need, because controlled pressure forces the brain to work so much more efficiently. Rule 3. Choose an intentional reward before you start. Instead of mindlessly scrolling or watching a show out of habit, you earn it, but only after finishing the task. And finally, Rule 4. Total removal of distractions. Put the phone in another room, turn off all notifications, close all those extra browser tabs. Give that impulsive phasic dopamine absolutely nothing to latch onto. Section 4. The hidden enemy, the perfectionism track. But as you set up this awesome new system, you have to beware of the invisible saboteur that ruins it for almost everyone. You probably don't even think of yourself as a perfectionist. Most of us assume perfectionists are people who actually finish flawless work. But perfectionism, it's really just automatic thoughts disguised as logic. It's like living in a pristine glass cage. Do you recognize thoughts like this? Oh, I won't start now because I have somewhere to be in an hour. I really need to feel 100% inspired to do this right. Or simply, it's just not the right moment yet. Listen to me. These aren't logical reasons to delay. These are perfectionist chaps, designed to keep the clock completely frozen. The absolute truth is, the perfect moment simply does not exist. There is only the moment you decide to start. To break this illusion, you need the ultimate tactical weapon. Commit to just 2 minutes. That's it. Instead of waiting for ideal conditions, you commit to just 2 imperfect minutes of that dreaded task, with absolutely zero pressure for quality and zero expectation of a good result. Just do it for 2 minutes. Because the real obstacle was never doing the task well. It was only ever starting. Once you break that initial inertia, your brain has literally no perfectionist excuse left for something you already agreed up front was completely allowed to be bad. And finally, we arrive at the element that holds this entire system together, the ultimate driving force. What actually makes you get out of bed and keep going even on the days you really don't want to, even when nobody is watching and absolutely nobody is clapping for you? Everyone has a deep motivation hiding somewhere. Maybe it's providing for the people you love. Maybe it's proving someone who doubted you wrong. Maybe it's building the life your parents never got to have, or simply refusing to reach the end of your life wondering, what if? Ask yourself the hardest question possible. Will you betray your own potential? Once you connect today's boring, scary, mundane task to that deep, core motivation, procrastination stops being just a harmless delay. It stops being a neutral choice. It becomes a tragic betrayal against yourself and the exact future you're trying to build. So think back to that heavy task that's been chasing you since we started talking today, the one casting that really long shadow. Pick just one of the tools we've uncovered today and apply it in the next 24 hours. Because the only difference between the person who changes their life and the person still stuck in the exact same place 3 years from now was never motivation, it was never luck, and it was certainly never willpower. It was simply having started. The dawn is breaking right now. If the only thing standing between the life you currently have and the life you actually want is 2 minutes of imperfect courage, what exactly are you waiting for? Just start.